Hello, Raja Muneeb ji. Hello and welcome back to the pamphlet.
Thank you, ma'am.
And
Namaskar. Hello. Very good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Okay, so Operation Sindoor, the ceasefire has been announced. हम वो हो चुका है. Operation Sindoor, Indian Armed Forces ने continue किया है कि the war on terror will be on, and that this is the new normal. ठीक है. So
Mhm.
we are just ready that anytime there is any terror attack, it is considered as an act of war, right? बट आई वांट टू नो फ्रॉम यू, आप हमें थोड़ा बताइए कि एग्जैक्टली इफेक्टिवनेस ऑपरेशन सिंदूर की कैसे रही है और हमने इन पिछले 4-5 दिनों में क्या हमने हासिल किया है.
See, when it comes to Pakistan or when it comes to setting up deterrence with Pakistan, there was a lot of debate around this time that will we be able to set up deterrence with Pakistan, right? Operation Sindoor has done one thing. One, it has set up deterrence where in terms of cost to Pakistan. क्योंकि इवन इन कारगिल इफ यू सी द कारगिल वॉर इट वाज अ लिमिटेड थिएटर वॉर ठीक है द ओनली टाइम आई थिंक इंडिया स्टक डीप इनटू पाकिस्तान इनसाइड पाकिस्तान वाज इन 1971 उसके बाद से दिस इज द फर्स्ट टाइम दैट वी हैव गॉन हेड एंड वी हैव स्टक देम डीप इनसाइड देयर टेरिटरी एंड इन एवरी पार्ट ऑफ पाकिस्तान each and every part of Pakistan except Balochistan, I would say, to some extent. So, one that we have, really called out their bluff of the nuclear weapon, which they have always used. If India attacks us beyond an LOC or beyond a range where we feel threatened, we will be compelled to use a nuclear bomb. So, उनका वो nuclear bomb का एक excuse होता था कि nuclear bomb was like we'll hide a terror attack, we'll hide ourselves behind a nuclear bomb after every terror attack. So I think that is very, very important for us. Second thing, the messaging has been very, very clear. Now, no, I'm not talking about messaging into the Western world. I'm talking about messaging inside Pakistan. Because the way these missiles rained inside Pakistan for the Pakistani public to see what is happening around them, I think it has something, it has, uh, you can say it has put a psychological defeat inside the minds of Pakistanis. An average Pakistani for that duration of 3 or 4 days was literally crying on the street. You could see a lot of Pakistanis worried. Some were crying. Even their anchors were, doing dramas and crying on TV. There's social media influencers had started talking about peace. So I think in terms of cost, we have made it very clear to Pakistan that if something like this happens, any terror attack happens, then we will not be holding things back. And this will be the new norm, the way we will respond. So I think in terms of messaging, in terms of intent, in terms of setting up deterrence with respect to cost, because see, the war is an expensive affair, right? Every day it costs you millions of dollars every night or every day. Each day you have to fight a war, you're spending up money. Pakistan doesn't have the money to spend. Pakistan's economy is in shambles. It's in tatters. So these 3 4 days we have inflicted economic cost on them. We have inflicted military cost on them and very heavy military cost on them. And also we have inflicted a very heavy psychological cost onto the Pakistanis. So this has been completely a different paradigm shift from our earlier response, which we used to see before. Uh, you know, uh, let's say even 2019, it was a standalone attack at Balakot. Pakistanis were able to run plausible deniability, say that nothing has happened. We just hit some crows and some trees. The messaging was not as effective as it has been this time. I think this time we have, broken every barrier and literally entered Pakistan and hit them right deep inside their hearts. So I think this is a very, very significant operation. And, a lot of people are calling it a ceasefire. For me, it is not a ceasefire, it's a pause, right? When things can go south, you don't know. And that is something which we have a pause between us now. This pause can extend to months, this pause can extend to days or even a year. But the message which has been sent is that, anything which happens from across the border, there on. Operation Sindoor, is going to be responded very ferociously by India. So let's see how for how long this strategic pause, maintains itself. But I don't see this strategic pause maintaining itself for a very long time. I think Pakistan will try to keep on engaging us along the LOC, the line of actual control, which is the border in Jammu and
Hmm.
Kashmir. And since IWT is an issue which is very contentious to Pakistanis, it is something which is suspended. We have not, we're not giving anything on it. The Pakistanis have called for, reconsideration of our suspension. So that's the first formal, you can say, message which has come out of Islamabad. But the more things get prolonged on the IWT front, I see the more hostilities coming back, between India and Pakistan. Maybe they are limited just to the border areas, but for sure we are not going to see, a stable or an extended peace for a very long time. It's just a matter of, I don't know, a month or 2 months or even a few days, 15 days maybe, that we will see skirmishes happening around IB or around LOC.
Right. So I have one more question or concern, whatever one may say. Uh, India has maintained that we have destroyed at least 9 terror sites, terror training sites. That was our first strike, correct? That was the Operation Sindoor beginning. Then Pakistan attacked us via drones. India retaliated. And the final fall was where we attacked and where we destroyed the air bases, the military. We were very clear not to, you know, make the attacks on civilians. So residential areas, nothing of those sort happened. However, there is a section of media, especially a lot of vernacular, lot because obviously now everything is on social media, everyone is on YouTube, and a lot of these people they are saying that uh, ये जो हम डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिए ठीक है एयरबेस डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिए तो इसका क्या ही फायदा हुआ कल बढ़ा देंगे
Hmm.
जो टेरर कैंप डिस्ट्रॉय किए उसमें क्या हो गया कल दूसरा बना देंगे जो टेररिस्ट मारे गए 100 लोग मारे गए 100 टेररिस्ट को हमने मारा लेकिन इतने सारे टेररिस्ट है वहां पे तो 100 बहुत इनसिग्निफिकेंट नंबर है उनको आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे कि ये क्या इसमें हमने विक्ट्री है हमारी इन टर्म्स ऑफ फाइट अगेंस्ट टेररिज्म
See, I'll tell you something. Anybody who's questioning कि क्या फायदा हुआ, so they have to understand something very clearly. कि वन, अगर आप सैटेलाइट इमेजेस देखोगे या इंट की जो रिपोर्ट्स हैं वो देखोगे, भागलपुर में दिस सेमिनरी जो हमने हिट की है, दिस वाज बिकमिंग वेरी बिग. इसको ये और बड़ा कर रहे थे, ठीक है. इसमें अबाउट 150 और टेररिस्ट जो है उनको ट्रेन करने का, तो ये वहाँ स्विमिंग पूल भी बना रहे थे. तो पाकिस्तान में जो टेरर ग्रुप्स है ना, इनको एक सेंस ऑफ इनविंसिबिलिटी थी कि हम कुछ भी पाकिस्तान में रह के करेंगे, हमको कोई हाथ नहीं लगा सकता. Nobody can reach out to us. Right. So once you have hit them on their headquarters, whether it is in Murid के जहाँ लश्कर तैयबा का हाफिज सईद बैठता है, या भावलपुर जहाँ मसूद अजहर का पूरा headquarters वहां से चलता है, you see that half of family of Masood Azhar, including his brother, is now reported, the one who was involved in ICA 814 hijacking, is now gone, is gone. So you are paying the terrorists back, the terrorist leaders back, the cost which they never thought they would have to pay for doing their terrorism in India. So to have this very simplistic thing कि 100 बन जाएंगे तो 1000 आ जाएंगे, देखो, everywhere it is the norm. You kill 100, another 100 come. It is a multi-headed hydra जिसको हम बोलते हैं. Terrorism is like that. But that doesn't mean कि you will not take any action against it, or that doesn't mean that you will, throw a nuclear bomb and think that everything is going to be solved with that. Because one problem, end of problem leads to another set of problems. So I don't think that is the right way. But if you see and then look at Pakistani military, ठीक है, Pakistani military के तीन verticals है, army, air force, and navy. Out of all the three verticals, despite Pakistani army being the most dominant in Pakistan, it is actually the air force which holds itself as the most superior force in Pakistan. पाकिस्तान एयरफोर्स को अपने पे बहुत प्राइड है कि हमारे पास स्टेट ऑफ द आर्ट एयरक्राफ्ट्स हैं, हमारे पास स्टेट ऑफ द आर्ट स्ट्राइकिंग कैपेबिलिटीज हैं. एंड to hit them on their runways, to hit them on their bases, one is telling Pakistan that you do not hold that air superiority which you think about you do. Second, to prove to them that they're extremely weak militarily, that we can hit them at will. Third, the way we have hit at their AD defenses and their radars. See, all of this cost money, and this is not small money. This is large money. So when you're destroying their radars, you are destroying their AD systems. They have to replace it, and this will cost a lot of money. So you're putting a lot of financial pressure on Pakistan to replace their damaged equipment. They've lost their planes as well. They're So this has a punitive action to it. One, it is punitive. Secondly, it is economical. So you have to see it in effect of what we did, the kind of damage we caused in Pakistan. Today, I'm very sure that Hafiz Saeed would be sitting in Murike or should be sitting in Islamabad's GHQ or Rawalpindi's GHQ, but he would be thinking 10 times whether he should go back to Murike and settle there very comfortably. पहले तो he used to move around Pakistan at will. Now they will be thinking whether we need to, move around Pakistan the way we used to move around Pakistan. Won't Maybe India hits us again. So that doubt, that fear, is something you have put in their minds. So that doesn't mean that Pakistan is going to stop from carrying out terror, or these organizations are going to stop from paying. But the cost they have to pay is now 10 times more than what they were paying. I even argue that 15 times more than what they were paying before Pahalgam terror attack happened. And same as the Pakistani military, you have destroyed Pakistani military to an extent. Literally, Nirwa, on 10th morning, Pakistan forces, Pakistani defenses pulled it up in 3 hours. They were over in 3 hours. Everything was over. So, for Pakistan to believe that they can create a theater of war, conventional theater of war below the nuclear threshold, we have just shown Pakistan what we are capable of and how far bigger, superior military we are as compared to you and what we can do to destroy you. And mind you, we didn't even use Indian Navy in this whole operation at all. Actively, I would say. They were involved in the operation, but they were not actively, seeking targets and taking out targets. Had that happened, I think Pakistan would have been half destroyed. So I think we have sent a very, very strong message this time, a message which we have not been able to send beforehand when it came to terror attacks. And I think, for vernacular media or people to say कि इससे क्या होता है, इससे ये होता है कि आपकी दुश्मन के जो दिमाग में, उसके जहन में जो डर बैठता है, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। और जो आप उसकी कॉस्ट उसके साथ आप उसको देते हैं, जो आप सूद समेत वापस करते हैं, इन इंडिया हर लैंग्वेज से सूद समेत वापस देना, तो वो सूद जो उन पर है, वो सूद उन पे बहुत भारी पड़ने वाला
ठीक है। टारगेट्स की बात करते हैं तो एक बड़ा वो है सिग्निफिकेंट ये कि किराना हिल्स जो टारगेट किए हैं, न्यूक्लियर फैसिलिटी हम टारगेट किए हैं, रेडियो एक्टिव वो सब लीक हो रहा है पाकिस्तान में, देयर इज पैनिक एवरीवेयर। ये सब रिपोर्ट्स आ रही है, मीडिया में आ रही है, लॉट ऑफ लोग वो कर रहे हैं, कंटेम्पलेट करें कि क्या हो रहा है, क्या नहीं हो रहा है। व्हाट व्हाट डू यू नो अबाउट इट एंड व्हाट डू लेट अस नो कि इसमें कितना सत्य है?
See, कराना है, देखो इंडिया और पाकिस्तान के बीच में, because both of them are a nuclear power, so we have a treaty where we exchange every year a list of all those bases where we keep our nuclear weapons, right? Now, obviously, Pakistan is not going to tell you where they have kept their nuclear weapons. They would not be honest about it, or maybe we are also not honest about it. But what I know is that Pakistan is completely dishonest about it. So that is why, and attacking anybody's nuclear sites against to nuclear war. So that is how serious this business is. So you have to understand this very, very importantly. You can't just go and start blowing up their nuclear bases. Then you are triggering a nuclear war between the two countries. So we hit them at Kirana Hills, but we don't know whether they kept their nuclear bombs there or not. We are not aware of it. If Pakistanis had it, well, bad luck for them, because this is right next to the airbase. So one of the missiles maybe must have gone and deterred from the target course and just fell on Kirana Hills. So we don't know if Pakistanis were keeping their nuclear, bomb there. Second thing is, none of these missiles, even if you strike them at nuclear bases, have the ability to trigger a nuclear reaction and hook up there. nuclear missiles. So this radiation thing is not true. I can tell you with a certain authority, a certain confidence, because there are some protocols when it comes to nuclear weapons leakages or nuclear weapons, getting cooked up or any movement on nuclear weapons. First of all, it's not easy to just put a nuclear weapon. It's not like you're changing a round in an artillery that you take out a nuclear weapon and put it in your, on your missile or in your plane. There is a process to it, and that process is watched by all global powers very close, carefully, and even we watch it very carefully. Second thing is, if there would have been a radiation, the IEAE, the International Nuclear, I forgot the full name. I'm sorry, I forgot the full form of IEAE, but it's basically something which looks after the nuclear radiations and is associated with the nuclear field of the world. It is mandatory for them to call out the entire world and tell them that there has been a certain leak in a certain area, right? You would have been able to pick up nuclear radiations right above the base immediately, and
Right, correct.
you would have seen mass evacuations happening, and you would have seen all international players getting extremely, active in the region. And you must have even seen UN mobilizing towards Pakistan in that sense, because it's not a very small thing कि आपका लीक हो गया तो आपने छुपा दिया. आप न्यूक्लियर लीक किसी भी कंट्री में नहीं छुपा सकते, ना आपको कोई छुपाने देगा. Neither somebody will let you do that, right? So there is no absolutely no nuclear leak which is happening in Pakistan. We might have stuck one of their bases, but that's okay. I mean, we don't know. Pakistanis
Right,
have not told us it's a nuclear site. It could be a nuclear site. It might not have been a nuclear site.
राइट, राइट। अ, एक और चीज़ जो सोशल मीडिया पे 2-3 दिन से काफ़ी वो वायरल चल रहा है, एक तो जो बालूचिस्तान एरिया के जो हैं, उन्होंने इंडिया को सपोर्ट किया था इन ऑपरेशन सिंदूर, दे हैव बीन स्टैंडिंग बाय इंडिया सिंस लॉन्ग। पर कल-परसों 3 दिन से ये चल रहा है कि दे हैव डिक्लेयर्ड इंडिपेंडेंस एंड दे इंडिया का सपोर्ट माँग रहे हैं रिकॉग्निशन के लिए, यूएन को लिखने का बोल रहे हैं कि वी राइट टू द यूएन टू रिकॉग्नाइज बालूचिस्तान एज़ अ सेपरेट कंट्री। व्हाट इज़ हैपनिंग ऑन दोज़ फ्रंट्स? क्योंकि ये क्वेश्चन भी है, कई लोगों के क्वेश्चन है कि पी बालोच इंडिपेंडेंस हो गया है, व्हाट आर द चांसेस? समवन इज़ आस्किंग कि व्हाट आर द चांसेस ऑफ दोज़ बीइंग आईएसआई एजेंट्स? तो
So that's a good question.
या,
So there are two parts to it. The first part is that BLA went ahead and declared independent support to India when Operation Sindoor was on, which is true, which happened. They did give us independent support, saying that if Indian forces want us to collaborate with them, then they should come and we can squeeze Pakistan from both sides. That did happen. Second is that have they declared independence? Absolutely no. So nothing of that sort has happened. It's fake news. It ran yesterday. It was done by our major news channel as well, but it was fake. It was not true. Uh, what is happening in Balochistan is, let me give you a data. Since 7th of May till 10th of May, there Balochistan and KPK, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, जिसको हम बोलते हैं, where PTP operates and Balochistan BLF and BLF operates. There have been 72 attacks on Pakistani military positions and personnel in last 3 days. Unprecedented attacks when India was attacking uh, Pakistan, and most of the people could not pick that data up. So that is what happened there in last 3 days, and it's still continuing. Even on the day seventh or eighth morning, I remember Pakistan lost 14 of their soldiers in twin IED attacks. I did put out a video of one of the attacks of that day as well, but I just don't remember the date right now. Was it seventh or eighth? I'm not very sure. Okay. So the Baloch and both the Taliban, Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan (TTP), have not sort of backed out from attacking the Pakistani forces because Pakistan is fighting, quote unquote, Hindu India. Okay. And if you look at the way the statements have also been coming from Afghanistan, that or from within Pakistan, some of the Maulvis in Pakistan, especially from Lal Masjid, the messaging was very, very clear that there is no fight between of this is not an Islamic fight at all. This is a Punjabis fighting among themselves, right? So I think Asim Munir has tried very hard to keep this Islamization narrative in Pakistan alive. But the reality is, Nirwa, that Islam is failing in Pakistan, and that is a reality which is Pakistan is not ready to talk about. And why I say that is because look at the internal rifts which are happening inside Pakistan. One is of course, the KPK and Baloch issue, but then there is another issue where all these Molvis have been, assassinating each other for last 2 months. We have seen slew of killings happening in Pakistan, in Pakistani mainland, whether it is Karachi, it is Lahore, it is Rawalpindi. यू नो कभी एक फिरके का मौलवी है, एक फिरके का लीडर है, उसको मार दिया, कभी दूसरे फिरके को मार दिया, हर मस्जिद हकानिया पे हमने बॉम्बिंग होती हुई देखी. So Pakistan is grappling with huge internal fault lines within itself. So the Islam which Asim Munir talked about in Pakistan is actually failing in Pakistan. Pakistan is crumbling under its own two nation theory failure. And that is what is happening in Pakistan.
So when you say Islam is failing in Pakistan, do you mean कि uh, एक जो it is becoming more and more radicalized वहां पे हो रहा है, या they're taking that far extremist line, या is it that they are finally coming to terms with the actual uh, the faith, and they have realizing कि they were being misled by the religious extremists, and they're realizing that part of the faith, which what do you mean
No,
by Islam
none
being
of the
faith?
three. Islam failing means that, see, predominantly Pakistan is a Muslim nation, right? Why do you have to kill one Muslim? Why do you have to bomb Masjid Haqqaniya? Why do you have to kill, AJSW Maulvis? Why do you have to kill another Maulvi in Rawalpindi? Why do you have to kill somebody from Barelvi sect? Why do you have to kill somebody from Salafi sect? Why do you have to kill somebody from Deobandi sect? At the end of the day, you're all Muslims, but at the end of the day, you're all fighting within yourselves. You're
Right. So a
killing the
certain
Pashtuns.
dominance is what is
Yeah.
happening.
So basically, the division among yourself is that you cannot even decide who the right Muslim in Pakistan is. The Deobandis say we are the right Muslims. The Salafis say we are the right Muslims. The Barelvis say we are the right. So who is the right Muslim? Who is the perfect Muslim in Pakistan? That is why I'm saying Islam is failing in Pakistan because they cannot find the perfect Muslim in Pakistan who should be, worthy of living in Pakistan, and the rest should die. So that is where Pakistan is today, and that is why Islam in Pakistan is failing.
राइट, राइट। एक और लोगों का सवाल है, काफ़ी कमेंट्स में भी आया है कि ये पर्टिकुलर ऑपरेशन सिंदूर को लेके जो 0.5 फ्रंट की बात जनरल बिपिन रावत ने की थी, और कई कन्वर्सेशन में भी काफ़ी बार आता रहता है कि 0.5 फ्रंट, 0.5 फ्रंट। तो मैं आपसे जानना चाहूँगी कि आप फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ह हमारे व्यूअर्स को बता दीजिए कि 0.5 फ्रंट क्या है? एंड वो जो उनका जो ये बाहर आया है इस ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के वक़्त, उनका जो कमेंट्स एंड लोगों को रियलिटी दिखी है लोगों के बारे में, उस पर आपको क्या लगता है? व्हाट आर योर व्यूज़ ऑन दैट?
देखो, 0.5 फ्रंट इज एक्टिव इन इंडिया, एंड 0.5 फ्रंट जो है ना, इसको मैं खाली एक कम्युनिटी के एंगल से नहीं देखता. इट्स नॉट ओनली दैट द मुस्लिम्स आर इन्वॉल्वड इनटू इट, देयर इज मीडिया आल्सो व्हिच इज इन्वॉल्वड इनटू इट. इफ यू लुक एट द रिपोर्टिंग ऑफ वायर, इफ यू लुक एट द रिपोर्टिंग ऑफ हिंदू, राइट, कल हिंदू ने रिपोर्ट किया, दे मेड एन इंडियन मैप, दे मेड श्योर दैट सिक्किम इज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ it. They did Jammu and Kashmir, and then they said it's occupied Jammu and Kashmir. These are all 0.5 friends within ourselves who basically, align with the idea of your enemy or somebody who's trying to, or the powers sitting across the world who they are subservient to. बट आई थिंक द 0.5 फ्रंट में एक इस बारी बहुत बड़ा जो, जब हम मुस्लिम्स की बात करते हैं, I think there was one very big significant change which happened, and that credit needs to go to where it is due, and that is Assadin Owaisi. I think Assadin Owaisi did realize that what is the potential of it if it, if the conflict escalates, what can be the ramifications if people don't align behind their nation. And he's the one who really got the Muslims aligning behind the nation as well. And not only him, even his brother, who's notorious, absolutely notorious, and I always call him friend, Akbardur Owaisi. He made 10,000 Muslims shout Bharat Mata Ki Jai, right? Hindustan Zindabad. So Hindustan Zindabad ke 10,000 लोगों को नारे लगाने, that was a very, very clear message to the Muslim population of India, that where the Muslim leaders of India are headed to when it comes to Pakistan, right? So I would congratulate Asadin Owaisi. He actually has shown more spine than our mainstream other parties like Congress or somebody else who have not been able to communicate this sentiment to every each and every Indian. I think Asadin Owaisi has stood out far better than what you could have expected from a Rahul Gandhi, to be very honest. In fact, Rahul Gandhi is completely missing not even a single statement. So that tells you the point five front and the ideological moorings where they are coming from. That's how I see.
राइट, राइट। कांग्रेस से याद आता है कि द ओनली मेजर अपोनेंट अपोजिशन पार्टी की जिसकी टर्की ऑफ ऑल कंट्रीज में ऑफिस है वो कांग्रेस है। टर्की
Yeah,
ने बहुत
absolutely.
क्लियरली राइट एंड टर्की ने इस पर्टिकुलर इंसिडेंट्स पे प्लस पास्ट में भी दे हैव स्टूड बाय पाकिस्तान। इनफैक्ट इसमें तो दे हैव वेरी क्लियरली बैक पाकिस्तान, जबकि ऑब्वियसली इट वाज दैट दे वर द वंस हु यू नो ड्रोन्स तो उन्हीं की तरफ से आए थे। तो उसके रेमिफिकेशंस में इंडिया में बहुत सारी एक तो बॉयकॉट टर्की चल रहा है। टूरिज्म के लिए पीपल आर सेइंग कि अपनी बुकिंग्स कैंसल कीजिए, टूरिज्म कैंसल कीजिए, इकोनॉमिक उसको थोड़ा हार्म करने के इंटेंशन से देयर आर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस एंड एसोसिएशंस जो कह रहे हैं कि हम टर्की के प्रोडक्ट्स नहीं बेचेंगे, राइट? सो एक जनरल पब्लिक के दिलों में ये एक बैठा है कि नहीं, जो जो कंट्री एक ऐसे कंट्री को सपोर्ट कर रही है व्हिच इज़ एक्टिवली फंडिंग टेररिज्म ऑन आवर लैंड, तो हमें उसको
Hmm. Yeah.
इनडायरेक्टली भी सपोर्ट नहीं करना है। बट पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ स्पेशली कांग्रेस उनको कल जैसे कि पूछा गया था प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में, जयराम रमेश बैठे हैं, बाजू में पवन खेरा बैठे हैं। ये सवाल पूछा गया तो दोनों एक-दूसरे को माइक दे रहे हैं कि तुम जवाब दो, तुम जवाब दो। इवेंचुअली पवन खेरा बोले कि हम इस पे बाद में जवाब देंगे। तो कांग्रेस इज़ नॉट इवन एबल टू टेक दैट पर्टिकुलर स्टैंड। अ, बट उसके
And
चलते
that is a
आपको
very
क्या लगता
sad
है?
part. That is a very sad part to see, Nirva, because a party which claims that it's the only alternative to BJP is not even able to stand firmly for India, for Bharat. I think that speaks volumes about the party and its intentions going forward or in future for India. We have to be very, very careful. I say this with all the responsibility today.
राइट, बट टर्की के साथ अज़रबैजान, ये 2 जो कंट्रीज़ हैं उन्होंने तो बहुत बहुत क्लियरली दे हैव टेकन एन एंटी इंडिया स्टैंड। तो इन 2 कंट्रीज़ की जो ये जो पॉलिसी रही है इस पर्टिकुलर ऑपरेशन को लेके, व्हाट डू यू हैव टू से ऑन दैट? डू यू थिंक व्हाट कुड बी द रीज़न बिहाइंड them funding terrorism or supporting terrorism like this, especially on India?
See, more than anti-India, I would call them pro-Pakistan. Okay, they have had a very pro-Pakistan stance, and they have been supporting Pakistan through and through. Today, what's his name? The president of Turkey, Erdogan, he has given a
हाँ,
very clear statement. He said that I firmly stand behind Pakistan, and I don't care about the cost I have to pay for that. So he's ready to pay, let go of the economic benefits he was envisioning with India at one point of time, or which are in process in Turkey. Remember, India was one of the first responders when the earthquake came into Turkey, right? So at that time, they didn't feel bad about it. They didn't feel bad about taking aid from us. But they have shamelessly gone ahead and stood behind Pakistan. So, well, congratulations to them. Good for us. We know in open who our enemies are. But then this stems from, if you see the shift in the Muslim world, since Saudi Arabia started, to de-radicalize itself, to change itself, you see a paradigm shift in Saudi Arabia towards the Muslim world, right? It's Turkey which has again, rekindled its Ottoman Empire, which is, and this is because of Erdogan, since he came into power, he again wants to build that Ottoman Empire, get back to that Ottoman Empire Khalifa theory that, Turkey will be the leader of the Muslim world, and Khalifa will be led by the Turkish. So I think this has to do a lot with that kind of a illusion. I say that's an illusion Erdogan lives with. It's never going to happen. But unfortunately, it's a plan of that illusion which we are playing between, and we often talk about it. We say it's Pakistan, it's Iran, it's Turkey, it's China. It's an axis a power axis which they have been trying to create in the Middle East and the rest of the world against the democratic forces of US and European Union and other countries, including India, into it as well. So I think it has got to do with this, you can say, this Ottoman Empire. One, the Ottoman Empire thing, which resonates with the Pakistanis on the Muslim Islamic mindset and Muslim mindset, the Khalifa, messaging. Second, I think it is the power axis, which is actually headed by the Chinese, and Turkey is just a part of that, power axis as well. Turkey has been part of that as well. So I think it's time that the Americans really need to look at Turkey and think about whether Turkey is worthy of being a NATO member anymore or not, because Turkey has been playing both sides for a very long time. They have been playing with Muslim Brotherhood. They have been supporting terrorism in Syria. They have footprints into terror in the Middle East, but at the same time, they're also playing the good boys of the United States when it comes to when things get really escalated, and they try to de-escalate things and they try to calm down things. But I think it's time that essentially the NATO has to take a call on Turkey whether they want Turkey to be a part of NATO, and obviously a time will also come where Erdogan will have to choose whether he wants to be part of the NATO forces or he's going to shift his allegiance totally towards the China, Pakistan, Iran axis. So I think that is something which we'll see in future, and that is where it stands from, Nirva. That is where it comes from, actually.
Right, right. There's one question कि इस पाकिस्तान COS को अगर change कर दें, तो do you think there will be a change in attitude? Because he says that Bajwa time was relatively peaceful uh, for India and as compared to the current one.
I agree. Bajwa time was, peaceful because Bajwa was a man who understood the compulsion. But with Bajwa came a problem called Imran Khan. A weak general comes with a civilian garment, and the person most popular in Pakistan is Imran Khan. And I am not somebody who's going to bet my, cards on Imran, because Imran is also, don't forget, is known as Taliban Khan, and he does host a lot of hostility towards India, right? So you might, and this phenomena is now coming in from Pakistan, wherein they do an attack and they sit for 3, 4, 5 years. The problem is not, the Nirva, the problem is not Munir will be replaced by somebody else. The problem is the Pakistani military in total. It's the mindset of Pakistani military which is the problem. You might replace Munir with someone else, and that someone else is going to then get again replaced by a radical. Then what are you going to do about it? Pakistan, unfortunately, is becoming a very delusional, a very rogue nation. If Pakistan has to survive as a country in next 10 years, they need somebody like Ataturk had, built Turkey. The problem with Pakistan is there are too many Baghdadis and too many Osama bin Laden sitting in Pakistan than any, Ataturk sitting in Pakistan. So it's going to be very, very difficult, to replace Munir with somebody else. And then that guarantees us that it's going to get us some peace. I'm not really sure, because the way ISI works, the wheel within weeks, and even when Bajwa was there, just because Pahalgam like terror attack didn't happen, that didn't mean that nothing happened. You had Rajouri, which was effectively, engaged in 2020. We started losing our soldiers there, right? So he was smart enough to keep the conflict, or to keep the terrorism below the threshold level of ours. That we were saying, okay, 5 of ours, okay, no problem. 6 of ours, all right, no problem, right? 10 of ours, okay, no problem. 20, yeah, we'll hit you. So somewhere we also have to be very, very clear on what we mean by a terror attack and what are thresholds regarding, breaching that threshold is, because Pakistan can very well continue to keep bumping off 2, 3, 4, 5 people every month, 2 months in Jammu and Kashmir or some other place. And if we are going to be silent about it, that will become a new norm from Pakistan. That is what they have been doing from last 4 years. So I don't buy that Bajwa or somebody else is somebody who had some sense and he was better for us. I believe that unless and until the Pakistani military as an institution is not dismantled in Pakistan, there is a complete paradigm shift in Pakistan's politics, and the civilian politician is the one who come forward take responsibility of the country, and they are in the truly in the driver's seat. I don't think Pakistan will change, because replacing one journalism with another journal is like a band-aid you're trying to apply on a problem where the wound is much, much more deeper.
राइट ओके लास्ट वन क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा मैं एक्सपांड करूंगी जो हमें एक ऑलरेडी कमेंट में आया है
That's
इट
right.
इज अबाउट द बांग्लादेश साइड ठीक है अब कि वहां पे अगर आई स्ट्रिप हाउ सेफ आर वी फ्रॉम बांग्लादेश साइड बट आई हैव वन मोर थिंग्स टू ऐड सो बांग्लादेश का क्रिएशन हुआ था बिकॉज द पंजाबी मुस्लिम्स फ्रॉम द पाकिस्तान साइड वर being they carried out atrocities on the Bengali Muslims and eventually वो बांग्लादेश से and then Bangladesh was carved out, right? वो atrocities हुई थी. What they wanted was freedom from Pakistan. But अब ऐसा हो रहा है कि they have ended up being a replica of Pakistan. The
Even
level of
worse.
radicalization that is happening on that side of the border, तो वो पाकिस्तान से भी ज्यादा रेडिकल जैसे आप कह रहे हैं वो हो रहा है.
Yeah.
Bangladesh
They-
shares a very porous border with a lot of northeastern states, including West Bengal, where अगले साल elections हो रहे हैं. वहाँ काफी problematic चीजें हैं. तो how do you see the next 1 year evolve in the eastern side of India when it comes to the India Bangladesh border, especially with regards to West Bengal?
That's a good question. The threat from the eastern side is far more bigger than what is from coming from the western side, and it is not only about it has a lot to do with demography also. Now, if you look, most of our fencing has been done on our western border with Pakistan. LOC ठीक है, पोरस है, मगर बहुत कम जगह पर ऐसी जगह हैं जहाँ से वो पोरस है. यहाँ वो टनल्स खोदते हैं, कुछ आते हैं, ठीक है. बाय एंड लार्ज हमारा फोकस हमेशा से जो है वो वेस्टर्न फ्रंट पे ज्यादा रहा है. सो इन्फिल्ट्रेशन को कम रखने में, मिनिमाइज करने में हमारा सारा एफर्ट वहां से जाता है. Pakistanis are not somebody who would, just come across the border and start in hordes and start living in India. From Bangladesh, the problem is that one, we have mass migrations of not only Bangladeshis but also Rohingyas. Now, remember these Rohingyas who used to call themselves Arakan Muslims were a problem in 1952, 1953 as well, right? They have been radicalized right from the 1950s. Now, one, you have this unchecked mass infiltration of illegal Bangladeshis and Rohingyas. Then you have an extreme porous border, which is of much larger length and breadth than what you see at LOC, right? So that is another challenge as well. And third is that now you see that Pakistan and Bangladesh are becoming very, very close. The Pakistani ISI has virtually started, operating inside Bangladesh. There are reports they are training Rohingyas there. Our reports are also suggesting that they tried to come in and train few people here in Jharkhand as well. So the threat from the east is far bigger, Nirva, than what we see the threat from Pakistan. And Pakistan, the more you hit Pakistan, the more Pakistan will try to create a smoke screen where it will be very, very difficult to pinpoint Pakistan for a terror attack in anywhere in India. And then for that, East is the best suited one. Because from East they can infiltrate into they can literally come into Jammu and Kashmir, they can go to any other state, they can live in any other state, they operate like sleeper cells. And once these sleeper cells are activated, then they carry out their task of terror which they have been assigned to. So I believe that, as far as we think that the threat is coming from Pakistan all the time, and that is true, the threat is always from the West, but the danger is coming from the East. It's East which is very, very dangerous. So I think it is something which we really, really need to focus on. The national security really needs to focus on our eastern borders a lot more. There are a lot of steps I think we should
Right.
immediately do when it comes to Bangladesh, and especially when it comes to West Bengal or even Manipur. Even last night we saw an operation in Manipur on the border
Mm.
between Indo Myanmar. So Myanmar is another threat which is opening up because of the geopolitical changes which are happening in Bangladesh. both the Americans and the Chinese now are vying for each other there. Right, the game is starting there, so the great game of the East is beginning, and we have to be very, very careful of this great game which is going to begin in Bangladesh.
Right. I think the cleaning up of illegal Bangladeshis in India across states is probably one of the steps in that direction, the first steps, and hopefully the cleanup will happen sooner, and may God take care of our country. Okay, any
Absolutely.
final words before we conclude this particular conversation?
No, I think what I see with vis-a-vis Pakistan is that we are into a very phased silence, and this silence can just disappear any time in Pakistani. So we have to really watch and keep a very close eye on them uh, of how things turn out
Right,
in next month. That's how I see it.
right. I think India's patience should not be taken for granted. And on that
Absolutely.
note, thank you so much for joining us today, Raja Muneebji, and we'll see you again
Thank
soon.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nirva. Thank you for having me once again. Thank you, Jay. Bye bye.